Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. It is 7:15 a.m. around there here in San Antonio, Texas. I've just noticed the new neighbors have an addition, backyard decoration. Looks odd, considering they kept the pool net lights. Anyway, it's house is furbished to include the pool net balcony lights. Anyway, how y'all doing? If you're wondering, that's the fourth car I've seen this morning. Just over on Swandale. Didn't see any cars other than, of course, the ones that are parked in this I call back alley, but it's Squaw Creek. It's the name of the street. Anyway, happy Tuesday. Hope y'all are doing well. I guess I don't really have much to say. The news that I've been seeing really is a lot about Epstein. And if you're wondering my thoughts on the matter, fifth car, 7:15 too soon. Going to work. Oh, there's another one, sixth car. If you're wondering about my take and my stance on it, I think a lot can be inferred with this rather silent social structure that happens to put me on this formerly known NISD school bus route. Not a public figure, a celebrity, and definitely never gotten a check for it. Zero payment or recognition for that. So I think a lot can probably be inferred, not lost in translation, about all of that. I have seen the photos of if you're wondering, like, what could they be saying? Sometimes they're just not saying anything. They just want the attention. Sometimes they just want to insert themselves in a conversation. Allegedly. Situation preparedness discussions I have with y'all. I don't know them. I've never talked to them. But, yeah, as far as situation preparedness discussions I have with y'all, it seems like they just want to be part of the dialogue of what's going on here. When I make a YouTube video, possibly speaking to millions of people directly, I think they just want to enter themselves into the conversation. They don't know what they're saying. I don't think very highly of them intellectually. When I say them, stars, it seems statistically impossible. Not one paycheck. But what has been recognized is my schizophrenia. That's what has been recognized. But anyway, with that being said, if you're wondering, I have seen the photos of, I don't know what it was. Was it in the, I guess in the 2000s, right? It was the 90s was Marla Maples, right? And then the 2000s, 2010 is the First Lady, Melania. And I have seen those photos of them standing with Epstein. Um, and I think there was this truth post that he got ratioed, the 47, and there was during one of the cabinet meetings, which, here I am, Poolnet 2.0, decorated their backyard. We have ours decorated too. I mean, if, depending on how long you've been following me, you probably already know. Oh, yeah, you can't really tell. Well, we got some, you can't really tell, but we have birdhouses and stuff. I know there's the S over here. There we go, now you see it. That one's mine, it's an S. The stars too. Okay, you can see it over here, I should just stay over here. But yeah, the most recent cabinet meeting, which we are keeping up with instead of an interview with me. Just gonna go ahead and say it. I don't know, and I say that not to be narcissistic, but as far as, again, this situation, I'm wondering who exactly that's helpful for. So wouldn't it look better for you if I wasn't kept like this? Who could this possibly be a good look for? It's a good look for Tucker Carlson. This is absolutely ridiculous. So that's why I say that. I'm not saying it out of narcissism or stuff like that. I'm just saying maybe your cabinet meetings might land a little better. E.g., which reminds me of a political talking point I wanted to say. If I wasn't kept like this, absolutely ridiculous. Before and after 2021. So that's why I say stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I heard that quote in support of the current Attorney General. I have been seeing, and if you're wondering, my husband is very intelligent. He's very smart with the situation, with people. He's just kind of like a Renaissance man, okay? So when I hear him say things like, are we still talking about Epstein? He knows very well we're still going to be talking about Epstein. He's saying that, in my opinion, to make a point and say, of course, people are going to still be talking about this. Why wouldn't? This is not something that's just going to go away. Oh, poof, it doesn't exist. So, I know there was children on a marijuana farm in California. Of course, that was after the mass, can you call it an exodus? Mass illegal migration from people from South and Central America to the United States. Not before that. And if you're wondering, my take on that, so let me finish the Epstein, and then I'll talk about that. So yeah, when I hear him say things like that, and when I hear him, those comments from him during like the cabinet meeting and stuff like that, he's saying something, but what can be inferred could be something different entirely. And that's just kind of how he's worked, and I don't see how that's a bad thing. Something that I've talked about several times is, it's not an easy thing to do, always looking like the bad guy, but when you're fighting for something good, maybe bad people want to take credit for it when you happen to win. Maybe bad people want to have the person that is an enemy towards them not look good, right? Public perception, facts are facts, right? And public perception is also important, right? Some things are classified confidential and all that. So I'm just letting y'all know that to whoever may be I may speaking to directly on this formerly known as IC School Bus route is when I see that, I think a high level of critical thought and thinking has gone into that. I don't see, and if you first, there's the baseline interpretation of oh, there's no Epstein files anymore. And then you get a little bit more information, you think a little bit more critically. The next step is here he is with all these people, people maybe who know him, who know maybe facts that are beyond public perception. Are going to have a second kind of interpretation to when he says these things at a cabinet meeting. We said that at a cabinet meeting, and then later he posted on True Social, which I haven't been able to see recently. I don't have a True Social account for several reasons. Hi, Gypsy. First of all, the name. This is too much like MTG. And hence to why I call it Twitter instead of X. I don't like that X name either. I put this here yesterday. I don't know. It was in the middle of the back alley. Sweating out here. Might as well go for a run, but I like going for a run in the evenings. Anyway. So yeah, there's the second level of interpretation where as far as an enemy and trying to make an enemy of yours look bad is kind of, excuse my, I just kind of want to be kind of raw about it to kind of get the message across. But excuse my language, trigger warning, to be kind of a cuck. And again, if you know public perception and you know facts are facts, that's the last thing I'm seeing an adult and a kid over there. Anyway, so if you know public perception and you know private and facts are facts and stuff like that, beyond public perception, you know, that's the last thing, last quality and attribute I think people would describe 47 as. Alpha male is probably something even his enemies know about and would not dispute or disagree with as a characterization of 47. So as far as dangers in society and stuff like that, which, you know, arguably could be why else would I be here? You know what I'm saying? Um, so when he says these things, Epstein is, are people still talking about Epstein in a cabinet meeting? And then giving the current AG, Attorney General, attention via True Social. Um, I see that as working, and I see that as being clever and outsmarting the people around him. Um, who happen to have power and authority. And as far as all that goes, I think it's a very interesting time. We're about 6 months, 5-6 months into, I guess I got another set of new neighbors. Now they have an older woman walking. Um, um, anyway, where was I? So yeah, I think I see that as him making moves and maneuvering. I think the timing is really interesting. We're about 5-6 months into the current administration. So this is not something that sometimes they talk about like reputations of presidents and stuff, and when they like to address certain subject matters and stuff like that. And a lot of the times maybe presidents address certain subject matters towards the end of their presidency or their term. So I think it's an interesting time. We're only 5-6 months into this current term, and here we are. It's people are talking about it, right? I mean, not the current Attorney General, but people are talking about it. That's what I see. At least that's what I see on trending when I Google and what do you call it, Twitter. So yeah, I think this is a long fight. I mean, obviously I do, right? Before these 4.5 years, it's been 8 years, right? Am I getting filmed? Is that what's happening? I mean, y'all saw it, right? I don't know what y'all saw and what y'all haven't. So, been about 12 years for me, and I would, for additional reasons, I would say more than 12 years. You know, it's a slow process, and hopefully not too slow. I want to be with my husband very publicly, pack on the PDA, and I know he wants the same. And as far as the age discussion, you know, I think it would be more appropriate to not have that discussion while talking about Epstein. But I think Epstein probably is not a bad topic of discussion over here on this formerly known as the Scribbles Route. But speaking of which, the one thing that I did want to talk about the current Attorney General, and don't worry, it's just another neighborhood. Feel free to act like I'm not Kim Kardashian. This constant reinforcement that I'm a schizophrenic, right? It's gone beyond I'm not a celebrity and public figure, but in addition to that, I'm a schizophrenic, right? What else would a logical, reasonable adult assume? Anyway, is the current Attorney General and the Department of Justice, DOJ. I've been seeing some lawyers that were working closely with Jack Smith, who Jack Smith was a part of the DOJ, special prosecutor under the Attorney General Merrick Garland under the 46th President Biden administration. I've been seeing that here, 5-6 months into this administration, several lawyers, attorneys who were working with Jack Smith, prosecuting the former, now current president, have been let go, which I think is very interesting as far as being an attorney and lawyer and all that. I'm wondering why they would stay at the Department of Justice. I'm wondering, if you're an attorney, I mean, isn't there plenty of work somewhere else? I'm just wondering what would the motivations be. How long were they with the Department of Justice? And why would they want to stay? So yeah. What else did I want to talk about? So basically with the Epstein, I think there's several levels and ways of which to look at and think critically about when 47 makes statements like that. And again, keep in mind, not one interview, not one. For me, I've never had an interview. Okay. So yeah, I saw that the other thing that I guess I wanted to talk about was I saw in France they were talking about the censorship of X. I've seen several stuff. I've seen one where I think last year it was about Donald Trump's interview with Elon on X. There was like stuff going on there. They thought it was unfair. I'm not really a part of the conversation, so there's a lot of ways in which I can interpret that. I guess there was that, and then as far as the purchasing of X and stuff like that, I think it's interesting. But now I think it's about censorship, which is really surprising. From France, I think as far as censorship goes, I'm not sure if it's about speech censorship, but more about adult content censorship, which I think is interesting. Sometimes I'll see a post and I'll look through the comments, and some of those comments are just like really awful, but there's not a photo or anything. There's just a really awful comment. I think with France currently it's the adult content, and there's some sort of age verification required. I think some people are saying are against it because they say, oh, you have to show your ID to go on Twitter, which I think is weird. I guess email isn't considered an ID. Again, I think it's really interesting position for France to take. I think globally, France is kind of known for being very lenient with all of that, right? Um, so I think that's very interesting what's going on. France's censorship for the adult content on X. They will now need an age verification, and again, as far as all that goes, I think it's very interesting from France, and I think it's very interesting because uh, you go to a bar, like a bar restaurant, obviously children are allowed and stuff like that, but you go to a bar, 9 times out of 10, the children aren't really allowed. Um, so as far as like adult content and uh, uh, alcoholic beverages and being at a bar, I think it's very interesting concept. I would hate to say argument, but again, just a topic of discussion to bring into whoever happens to be watching. Um, um, I think the only caveat there with the kids is that it has to be the parent that has to be there, parent or legal guardian or something. Um, so, yeah, I think it's really interesting Francis making that move. Um, again, considering that their reputation has been really quite lenient with a lot of that stuff. At least with the dress and stuff like that. And I guess the sexual nature of things. So yeah, I guess those are my comments today. My political topics of discussion: Epstein, a former Jack Smith DOJ co-workers being let go. Um, there's the downsizing of the Department of Education. And the France X censorship. I think but critical thinking is probably involved there. Um, and what else did I want to bring up? I'm gonna take a sip of coffee 1 second. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I was gonna bring up, but it's just like completely poof left my mind. But maybe I'll bring it up, I guess, in another day, another dollar chit chat. But yeah. It was a Tesla, in case you're wondering. Um, so yeah, very interesting. I think with this Elon Musk thing, again, I don't see much. Okay, I see this neighborhood getting busy, right? Um, but I did see that Elon Musk was taunting 47 about releasing the Epstein files. Um, and him being the Department of Government Efficiency and then leaving, you know, I don't know who his PR team is, but I would say you're not doing a good job. So is he just hiring new people? Is there a high turnover rate on Elon Musk's PR team? Are they not able to remember, take all of these concepts that's been happening and hold all of these concepts? I mean, Department of Government Efficiency, you know, uh, I gotta leave to focus on Tesla, but now starting a third party, focusing on. I'm just thinking, like, you don't want to ride that mega wave? No? I mean, what does the situation have to be where these are the moves that Elon Musk is making? And why isn't the PR team advising him against an alternative path? Seems really stupid. I mean, you talk about these things like Epstein and stuff. Epstein, he's not known just for allegedly pedophile connections, sex trafficking of minors and stuff like that, but of being in position, high levels of society, of authority and power, in throughout our society, like maybe even globally, like, you know. Um, So Elon Musk, also known as the richest man on earth, joins the Department of Deficiency, and then all of a sudden leaves it. Is it focusing on Tesla, now focusing on third party, now taunting the 47th president to release the Epstein files. I mean, and that was just this year. Who's your PR team? You should fire them. They're not doing you any justice there. Or maybe they are. I don't know. But as far as the Department of Education and downsizing, I think that's very interesting. Um, Especially again considering the 46th term, 46th president's 46th administration. A big part of that administration was this college education. And tackling that issue was by giving free tuition to certain students. I don't know much about it, but I know I've made several videos voicing my opinions. You know, I think maybe there are better ways to make college affordable. It is a big burden, and it shouldn't be, as far as a collective thing, I don't think it should be other people's responsibility to fund that. And I'm saying that as somebody, I was like 4+ years, maybe 6 years, maybe even more, at a higher education, and I never received my degree. I never earned it. Passed the classes and got the required credits to graduate. But as far as UTSA, or how UTSA used to be, again, I also mentioned that is, I really liked that school, because it, part of the reason was it wasn't one of those universities or campuses where it was strictly, it is of the utmost importance. You need to make whatever sacrifices you need to make so you graduate in 4 years. And it was like part-time and full-time, and is fine at UTSA. And so anyway, what I'm saying is I wasn't really in support of that. And as far as downsizing the Department of Education, you know, education I thought usually should go to the states. And if there is education, especially public, meaning like, I don't know, is it kinder through 12, or is it just first through 12? Is it considered public education? I don't know if kinder's optional or not. I don't know. I think it, we went to kinder when we went to Colonies North, me and my 2 sisters. Went to Colonies North, right down the street. But again, I don't think it's such a bad thing if there is money federally for public education in the states. I don't. I would imagine what's going on there is kind of cutting out the intermediary middleman. How somebody that's working in the bureaucracy of the federal government going to know how best to spend money at Colonies North down the street, or any sort of independent school district with a public school. The people and the PTA and all of that. Maybe I'd imagine it would mean that that the money would have more authority, direct authority to power to public education with the states. Usually when there's like a federal versus state argument, a lot of the times they say, oh, the states have more power, meaning less bureaucracy, more localized, more direct stuff going on. People and part of the bureaucracy of the Department of Education could be arguing for things that would be considered a waste of money here in San Antonio, Texas, or wherever it is you happen to be. Which I think has been at the forefront of this 47th administration. So yeah, if you're wondering my thoughts about downsizing the employees of the federal Department of Education, I think it'd probably be, I'm wondering if the Department of Government Efficiency was on it, and would probably be to a bit counterintuitive critical thinking to give more power to this state, local level. I know local and state can have different meanings, depending on where you are in the conversation. But I would imagine it the goal-oriented outcome to downsizing the Federal Department of Education is not taking money away from students and people getting public education, but in fact making it more localized, more efficient, for lack of a better word, and more meaningful and put to use that money. But yeah, my video is about 10. I'm gonna go running this evening, but I'm already drenched. So my heart rate isn't up, but I'm like sweating. I guess my metabolism's going. That's good. Anyway, so yeah, those topics of discussion today: Epstein, AG. What else did I talk about? Censorship, X, Department of Education. So yeah, thanks for chit-chatting with me, and I'll talk to y'all later.